tell us sort of the challenges, opportunities, and roadblocks around buying social media across platforms, the walled gardens and the open web, what you guys do, and maybe what you hope can be done to make it more effective, more efficient.
This is a really interesting conversation, and it's one that I love having because it kind of sets up an ideal that, you know, if there was utopia, what I would like, and I think what a lot of marketers would want to be able to do, and that's to be able to have like cross-channel attribution and reach and frequency controls. And due to that not being available, it really opens up a lot of creative and innovative ways for me and my team to like plan our paid social campaigns. One thing that's really interesting and a constant source of conversation internally as well as with our clients is how do we make sure that we're driving efficient reach and that we're not wasting our media pounds, euros, dollars across reaching multiple people. And ultimately, that's not something that we're able to caveat across all our campaigns. I think with some really like in-depth and profiling campaigns, you can maybe have some proxies around like mitigating like wastage, but ultimately we know that's the biggest kind of, I don't want to say frustration, but challenge when it comes to cross-channel campaigns on paid social. So one of the things that we do is really focus on the campaign, the brief, the brand, the client, the objective. And I call it a bit of a balancing act of your short-term and long-term goals. I think social is probably one of like the biggest ecosystems where you have to be a bit of a strategist at heart. You have to always remember who is your audience, and you have to remember the mindset, the context, the environment that they're going to be on, because when it comes to platform selection, that's one of the biggest, I would say probably one of the biggest like pillars that you're going to be focusing on. I know that there is a huge push and there are so many like changes that are happening behind the scenes when it comes to like privacy, when it comes to what we're able to collect and how we're able to remarket people. So having that planning approach, having that strategy at the forefront is really at the core of what we do. And then on the flip side, going back to the data, understanding like where we can get max reach, understanding where we can like avoid wastage, starts to like trickle itself into like our planning approach.
In terms of activating, what would be helpful to you? There's some talk about a system of record or some way to sort of activate more universally. I don't know if that's, you know, what that could look like or what you would like it to look like.
I think that can open itself up to multiple things. One of the things that comes to the top of my mind is how can we make sure that we're able to get scale across the multiple markets and platforms that we're going to be activating against. I always have a bit of an ongoing debate with my adults team around making sure that they have the insight that they need to make sure that our tracking, to make sure that it's robust enough, and to also make sure that we're able to like test and future-proof a lot of the activations that we have. I think one of the interesting things is that knowing that when we are doing like multi-channel, multi-market campaigns, we have to have a system in place, which is one of the things that I love about Essence, that enables us to QA our campaigns at scale. We also have our media technology team that are able to build infrastructures that enable the adults team to track, to test, and to also like refine the strategies that we have in place.
Finally, some thoughts about the power of social. Of course, you know, you're investing in social, that's your job. You know, in terms of social being an effective place, a safe place, a dynamic place, you know, some thoughts that you have would be great to share.
It's really an exciting time, I think, to be a marketeer, to be a digital marketeer, and in particular to be within the paid social landscape. I think one of the things that I really love about paid social is the fact that it enables us to really go back to the heart of everything that we do. And I know this sounds a bit fluffy, but we are advertisers, we're marketeers, and there's an element of creativity that we have to deploy and think about in terms of executing our campaigns. But I also love the challenge of being in an industry that is constantly changing and evolving. Over the last few years, we know that privacy has become an increasingly more important topic, and not just within the industry, but with consumers. And having a privacy first approach is something that we all need to follow through on. It's not only becoming an important part for the consumers, but from a marketeer's perspective, it's knowing that we are going to have some restrictions in terms of what we can track, what we can remarket, but also it means that there's creativity space for agencies to come in and find solutions, alternatives that enable us to bypass those challenges. I think the thing that's also really exciting and interesting is that no one platform is the same. You know, it's an ecosystem that is full of competition, full of vibrancy, but you're also reaching the same person. And so understanding what one platform offers over another becomes a really like sophisticated and strategic approach, and making sure that we're just not keeping it in isolation. Like, I'm a really big advocate that social is not its own channel. Like, it works the best when you're collaborating it with like your TV strategies, your out of home. I think one of the things that's interesting is that during lockdown, we've seen that live has found a place in social. And so I think we're gonna start seeing a lot of like marketeers start incorporating that into their strategies.